Tui here, Solaris Knight, and Doggy Kruger, and a shout out to Action Activate. Stay tuned.
Activate. We are here. I am Gazbot, but I am also joined by
the Big Dawg Defender.
That's right, the Big Dawg Defender here as always to defend, to attack, whatever is necessary. We are here talking Power Rangers. We are here talking specifically Beast Morphers. The current episode, we are all caught up. We've been doing double episodes, but now we are all caught up. We are current. We're going to talk about the one that just came, which depending on the numbering system you look at is 19 or 20, but it is the one that just aired this week, and I believe it was called Tower, right?
Seems right.
Tower
Seems
colon
accurate.
something. So, but before we jump into that, is there anything you wanted to throw out there before we get into the episode, Big Dog?
Today is Cyber Monday in
True.
2019 when we're recording this. For those of you that are Ranger fans, I highly recommend those with Amazon memberships to go check out the deals on there.
Yeah.
I know you can get the Beast X or whatever they're calling it, the Ultra Zord, including all 5 Megazords for only $100.
What is it normally?
$160.
Okay, so saying only 100 is misleading because that's still a lot, but if it's normally 160, then yeah, that's a better deal than you would normally get, I suppose.
Well, I think also each Zord individually is about $30 a piece.
Well, it is a good deal. There's just something about saying only $100 feels wrong.
Well, like that's also like saying Soul of Chogokin Dragon Zord is only $80.
Yes,
it's expensive. In comparison, though, screaming deal.
Also, while we're on the subject, Target online also has Cyber Monday, and they are doing the Legacy Titanus, the black and gold version, half price. So I think it's only $75 because it's normally $150.
Yup.
Yeah.
I'm not getting it, but every part, pretty much like for those of you who don't know me too well, Gaz knows this version of the Big Dog. The Big Dog 4 years ago would have bought this and then tried to figure out, okay, what am I going to do now that I spent $75+ on this Zord when I don't have my black and gold Megazord out of the box? Like, it's all right, we'll figure it out. Now I'm like, I want it in theory. I don't know where I would put it. I'm not going to buy it.
It's one of those things, yeah. Well, real quick, let me say hi in chat. Van Illustration, hello, and Kyle Goldfinch, hello to you as well.
Hello, Kyle Goldfinch and Van.
I feel like you're doing the right thing. If you don't have the money, if you don't have the room for it, then you don't get it. What I try to do is say, is this something I am eventually going to buy? Do I definitely want this and now is just not a good time? Then I still might get it because it's going to be $150 retail or more later on. So if I'm going to get it for sure in my life, now's the time to get it. But if I'm not sure I'm going to get it, then definitely don't ever. So, hey, Real Babu's here too. Hello, sir.
Hey. It's one where, like, I know you and I were talking about this where right now Legacy Zeonizers on Amazon are only $35.
Yeah.
And I'm like, do I need two?
I have one, but it's tempting. I have the Soul of Chogokin Dragon Zord up here, and I was tempted to get another. The deals are so good, but it's no point in getting it if you don't need it, want it, can afford it, whatever. But Matt Kiddo Claire, hello, sir. Hey, nice that it's finally Action Activate time. Matt Kiddo Claire, hey, nice that it's finally Action Activate time. And hey to everyone else, it is Action Activate time.
It is.
So we can talk more about this.
Yeah, we'll table it for the end. But if you would describe this episode in one word, what would you say?
Best episode of the season? Oh, sorry, that's not one word. Best.
All right, I would say impactful.
I agree, and that's probably why I liked it so much. And I'm a little bit hyperbolizing when I say it's the best episode of the season, because there were some I liked a lot in the beginning, but it's certainly the best I've seen in a while, so it feels like the best episode of the season to me.
I feel like, I know this is a phrase that's been played out so much, but the training wheels were taken off. This is an episode where, whether it's Power Rangers or whether it's a different show, if you just look at the different plot points from a story perspective, you're
Mhm.
like, wow, that has a lot of gravity with
Yes.
kind of what's happening with it,
Okay,
and that's
I'll give you another word then. Payoff. It's been paying
okay.
off tons of things they've been setting up since the beginning with the villains, with the heroes, with relationships. Payoff, 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 payoff.
I just want to jump into it.
Okay.
I don't want to beat around the bush. Let's just get
Kyle
into this.
Goldfinch says my word about this episode: red. That's it. That's it all. That is all. So that's okay. Target tower. Target colon. I couldn't remember tower. So I was saying tower colon whatever. So we start off, and the Rangers are watching the video of themselves helping Blaze and Roxy steal the teleporters, which is not what they're called. I'm forgetting what they're called. And it's weird because they're like, we weren't exactly mind controlled because we were doing it of our own free will, but we kind of were because we didn't know what we were doing. And they're like, well, they got 3 of these, and that's bad. What can they do with them? And then basically, the commander's like, well, we got to get them back. That's top priority. This, who knows what they're going to do with these? Blah 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 blah.
Yeah.
Then they hear an alert from the cryostasis, whatever these life support pods are, where the real Blaze and Roxy are, and they run over there, and Roxy's is failing, and they don't know why. Now we know why because last episode, was it last episode or the episode before? It was sabotaged by Avatar Roxy. Matt Kendall says mega transporters. Thank you, Matt Kendall. So we knew something was going to happen. I'm kind of surprised this is what happened. And I feel like through the course of this episode, this is part 2 of a 3-part plan because just sabotaging one of these, then why didn't they sabotage both? And it kind of incentivizes the Rangers to double their efforts to defeat Avatar Roxy. And it's a weird plan unless there's another part to it. So I believe after watching this episode, there will be another part to this plan.
Yeah, so I don't have confirmation, but I'm pretty sure I know part of the plan.
Toy spoilers? Yeah.
Unfortunately, I got a toy spoiler.
I have a minor toy spoiler, probably the same one you do. I don't really know what's going on, but I've seen images of toys that are not out yet of things that we haven't seen.
Hero or villain?
I don't know. Actually, that I don't know. I assume villain.
Yeah.
For those that don't know, there's been an Evox figure out for a while. That is a spoiler. And the ones I saw recently, I believe, are villains. We have not seen in the show at all, and those figures are not out yet. But the pictures have been floating around, so that's unfortunate.
Once I saw it and I read it right after, I'm like, okay.
Yeah. Well, I luckily didn't read it, so I'm a little less spoiled than you. But the toys are always going to be spoilers, unfortunately. I don't know how to avoid that, but if we weren't toy collectors, because even the ones I don't buy, I still see on the internet if you're looking on Power Rangers.
I feel like it'd be like, oh, Power Rangers Beast Morphers here. So yeah.
Well, anyway, they're all concerned, especially Ravi, of course. And then Nate finds the little USB key, and he's like, "Oh no, somebody did something to this." And I don't know if he knows that it was Roxy, but he knows that Roxy and Blaze were in there, so he's like, "They must have done this." And Ravi's like, "We got to do something," and Nate's like, "I'm not sure I can." Like, she's fading, this and that, and they come to the conclusion, well, look, if we take out the Avatar, she'll be fine, which they established way early on and has always been a goal, but now it's like an urgent goal, which again, if there wasn't a next part, seems weird that Avatar Roxy would basically put herself in the line of fire.
Yeah.
So he started. Go ahead.
I was going to say, the thing that perplexed me on this, I understand that Nate's abilities, especially when it comes to science and technology and stuff, only go so far. But I feel like up until the end of this episode, I feel like there is at least more effort that they could try with human Roxy, even if it's it doesn't ultimately help in the end. But he's literally like, I can't do anything. There's nothing I can do.
No.
Kill cold nothing.
No, that is not what he says. He says, I'm not sure there's anything I can do. I'm worried I might not be able. He never says flat out, I can't do it, I won't try. He says, I'm not sure there's anything I could do. I'll do what I can, but he's just being realistic. And I think that's because he built this whole life support system. He used all his knowledge and power to build this. It's not working. What else is there? And he's like, I don't know if I could fix it. And that's fair. Doesn't mean he's not going to try. Doesn't mean maybe he'll pull a rabbit out of his hat. But he's setting a realistic expectation of hey, I might not be able to do this. And I think that's good doctoring, good scientisting, whatever you want to call it.
I guess. You can have it.
Steal. Thank you. Matt Kendall said, toys will always be spoilers, so it can't be helped, but it is unfortunate. Yeah, agreed. I mean, what are you going to do? But we'll complain about it. So Ravi comes charging out and he's like, number one priority, we got to take care of the Avatar. But he runs into his mother / commander, and she's like, cool, but listen, Don't let your emotions get the best of you. Those transporters are out there, and that is a bigger problem because that could endanger the entire city, not just one person. And she doesn't say this, but Roxy is also like a member of the team. She kind of decided to put herself in harm's way. It's kind of like a soldier versus a civilian. Not that one life is worth more than the other, but there's a choice she made to be a soldier versus the whole civilian populace is in trouble, and And they say, we're going to go look for him. We'll call Devin. Where's Devin? Where is Devin?
Devin is at his dad's re-election rally.
That's true. Do you have thoughts about this?
I'm not going to say I like it. I'm not going to say I dislike it. I like that there's another conflict where he's torn between his civilian life and his Ranger life, because I feel like this season, because of the way it's structured, more often than not, they're like, yeah, we can just do whatever. There's a robot with us. We got these robots with us. We're just hanging out with Grid Battle Force people. None of the wiser. And like this episode finally kind of gets rid of some of that. And I like that they finally addressed it, as opposed to in like, it was either last episode or the episode before where the Yellow Ranger had to go through it. And it's like, okay, whatever. Yeah. This one, like, actually, it's like, no, like, there's actual danger. You have to do something now.
I agree. I agree. We may have said this before, but this highlighted it again for me, though. And it's a moot point after this episode, as we'll see. But he wants Devin to have a job. Unbeknownst to him, Devin has a super important job. As you said, they're always hanging around Grid Battle Force and these robots and stuff. It would help Devin with his father and their cover in general if they all had jobs at Grid Battle Force, which some of them do, some of them don't, depending on like the backstory or whatever. But if they just there's a reason why they're always going in and out. There's the reason that they're always at battle, because we see other members of Grid Battle Force that are there. They don't have to worry about the same celebrity status of being a ranger. And the commander could just tell his father, oh, you know what, Devin's helping us out. Doesn't even have to be a soldier, just he works here, he's doing his thing, and so he has to leave for emergencies sometimes. And it's weird that they couldn't come up with that cover story. Yeah. But they didn't, and here we are. But so
I think his shirt just screams unemployed kid who's
his shirt screams they need to make that so Gazbot can have one, because I want it.
Honestly, I'd get it too. So
yeah, it's a good shirt. I mean, it's a cool like Power Ranger shirt, but it's just a cool shirt, Yeah.
You can wear it with the bleach jean jacket, and I'll just wear it.
I know. I'll just wear it. I'm not a bleach. I don't think I've worn a bleached jean jacket ever, and if I did, it was for like a few weeks in the 90s.
How about you wear that with a sleeveless denim vest, and I will wear it with a leather jacket and possibly an aviator hat, kind of like Bulkhead, and we'll just kind of make it work.
Yeah. I'm totally into that. Okay, so we cut from that, and we see Ben and Betty on their tandem bike, which, again, I like that they keep using that because they made a point of it earlier in the season. They made it, and they brought it back a few times. But they're using, like, binocular glasses to search better. Now, they're looking
These are dumb.
They are dumb, but as far as Ben and Betty antics go, this is not the worst.
This is more tame, thankfully.
And it's more like, hey, we have a job to do. We're trying to figure out a good way to do it, but we're kind of dopey about it, so that's what's happening. And they're looking for the oh man, I already forgot. Matt and Claire told us, it's in chat somewhere. The Mega Transporters. They're looking for the Mega Transporters, which is a good job for them because they're not warriors, and so like they're just out searching, and that makes sense.
You actually, sorry to interrupt. You made me realize this episode they made Ben and Betty exactly how we asked for,
which is kind of back to how they started. Just like they've kind of been resetting Devin back to where he was. You knew that was coming, huh?
No, not really. It's one of those things, like, I'm thankful that we have it when it comes up. But then part of me is like, why couldn't you just do it the whole time? Why'd you have to lose your way partway through and then be like, this kind of isn't great?
Part of it is there are different writers, I'm sure. But there is... I don't know a ton about the way things are written, but I know a little bit. And usually there's like the show Bible, and there's the creator of the concepts that, like, even Chiplin, let's say it's him, isn't necessarily writing each one. He's supervising, and there's sort of an outline of the character arcs and the basic story, and then people write individual episodes. So what's weird is I feel like nobody mapped out, here's the character arc of Ben and Betty, and here's kind of what we want them to get to and be like. I feel like they were like, they're comic relief, and every writer, every episode does their own spin on what the comic relief means. I don't know if that's what happened, but that's what it feels like. And maybe because there's so much special effects and other stuff going on that they're not as being attended to as much, but...
Here is my hopeful cap.
Yes.
Because this is a split season.
Yes.
Every episode we hate, is Nickelodeon. Every episode we love is Hasbro.
I don't think it works like that. I think it's a blending
Nope,
of the two.
that's
I don't.
exactly
Okay.
how it works.
All right.
And it's as cut and dry as I just said.
That makes sense. Not. But
Ninja
anyway,
Steel.
you're not getting a Ninja Steel. Let's take a look at chat. We're missing some stuff. Oh, Defender has a Ninja Steel point. I don't remember what you said that got you that, but
I think we both agreed on something.
oh, okay. Matt Claire says, yeah, it's weird how Devin doesn't have a cover store for Wise goes to work at Grid Battle Force. Aki Dragu, I'm gonna buy it. The real Babu, Ben and Betty move like Babu and Squat. Sorry, Ben and Betty more like Babu and Squat than Bulk and Skull. I agree because they have missions, just like Babu and Squat did, and they usually accomplish their missions. They make mistakes and are kind of goofy, but yeah, they're more useful than Bulk and Skull, who were for most of the series just doing their own thing. Matt Kendall Clare says, I like the continuity with the random Morphex bike. Agreed. It's also interesting how Ben and Betty know about searching for the transporter so quickly, which I thought was cool. Well, and again, I do too, but that makes sense because they're plugged in. You know, they're part of the infrastructure, the administration. What are they? The security guards? We still don't really know, but they are employees, and their father is a high up, and they're friends with the Rangers, so of course they would know. The real Babu says, want to help. They want to help, but not fighters doing the gopher jobs. Exactly. Agreed. Matt and Claire, nice try Defender with the Nick excuse. So you lose a Ninja Steel point there. I don't know if you can lose them.
I don't lose. I'm just even. I'm neutral.
All right, fine. Neutral. So they're using these
Neutral
goggles.
Steel.
Neutral. No, it should be like this. Neutral Steel. So they're using the binoculars.
Minor slapstick
Yeah.
through the cement.
Fine. They don't get messed up. The construction worker gets messed up. Fine, whatever.
Yep.
Not the worst we've seen, not the best we've seen, just kind of whatever. Little neutral steel. Then the next one, they crash into a van. The joke itself is whatever, but the physicality of they did a really good job. I don't know if it's the actors or stunt actors, but like the way they just really flew, like it looked like they're just like, let's just crash the bike into the van and just did it. Like I thought that was great. It really looked like just whoops, we crashed into a van. Like I don't know, I really like that.
Yeah.
But then of course, yeah, go ahead.
I was gonna say I like what followed of. Oh, they actually found it on accident.
Yeah. And fine, they found it on accident, and they're all excited. But I do also like that Betty's like, "What are you doing? You're parked illegally here." Brr, 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 brr. So I guess the van. It could be her just being defensive, but being that they're such sticklers for rules and stuff, I'm betting the van is parked illegally because it's Tronics parked it or whatever. So maybe that's why they hit it. So it's luck, but it's also like the bad guys. If they had followed the rules, maybe this wouldn't have happened. So it's like there's that too. Matt Kendall Clare says, nice robotic voice, guys. Thank you. So they find it and they're like, oh, I can't believe our luck. And Betty even says, what does she say? She says something like, it's the old family luck / curse or whatever, which fine, but they've never mentioned that before. It was kind of a weird, it seems like something that she said all the time or they mentioned all the time, but I never heard them say that before. One thing
That's the thing that they always talk about, but they've never.
Yeah, something I forgot before when they were talking about Devin being at the political rally. Steele was like, "Oh, I've been thinking about running for office," and Nate's like, "Yeah, we know." And I love that, like, we didn't see it, but obviously he's been going on and on for weeks about how he should run for office, and he just keeps talking about it. Like, it was all summed up in those 2 lines. I thought it was great. Okay, so they find the transporters, but then I don't know why it's loading so slow when I do that. Sorry. They have horrified faces, some great face acting, because there's a pile of Tronics in the van. So they start running. Yeah. Luckily, the Tronics have become less and less effective, so Ben and Betty are able to get away from them relatively easy. But what I found interesting is the Tronics are actually firing at them, and it's like this is kind of the most action Ben and Betty have seen, like legit Power Ranger action. They're running from Tronics, they're being shot at, and they have important information. So that, like, going back to what the real Babu was saying, like, this isn't just some little side quest. This was like they're part of the main plot here. And then it carries over. I love the connection. You see the laser blast hitting the political rally because they're riding that way. So it's just like good connectivity. Like the whole thing flowed really well.
Ties everything together very well.
Yeah, I was really digging the episode already at this point. Let's check chat real quick. Aki Dragu Steel 2020. He's got my vote. Matt Kendall Claire, it was funny how she said it's the old family luck when they find the van. Then when the Tronics appeared from the van is when she mentioned the family curse. Yeah, it was funny. It was just odd that they never mentioned it before, and that could be something they could take going forward. That when something good happens, like that could be a funny joke where something good is always followed by something bad, or vice versa, and then it's like the same incident could be the curse or the luck, depending on how it falls. Like I would like that if they keep it going. To be honest, like if this, because it doesn't work as a one-off. But if it's the first of bringing that in, sure, great. So go ahead.
This part of so obviously Devin is running to go do Ranger stuff and get out of the way, and the first thing his dad does is like, my son is a worthless coward.
Yeah,
and I have to go protect these people.
Yeah, and he was giving a speech about it. Like
thinks the absolute worst.
And the thing is, he doesn't know his son is a Ranger. But even if he was just a normal guy, it's not crazy to be like, oh my gosh, there's laser fire and robots and monsters. Let's get out of here. It doesn't make him a coward. You know what I mean? And the mayor was giving the speech about we're going to stay and the Power Rangers will stay. And good for the mayor. But the mayor also shouldn't be staying. Like, it's great that he helped this guy, but it's not like that's his job. You know what I mean? It's certainly not Devin's job. Now, yeah, you might go above and beyond and be a hero, but to expect your son to do that is a bit much. Like oh, I'm running away from like if somebody opened fire with a machine gun at a park and my kid ran away from the machine gun, I wouldn't be like, you coward. I'd be like, yeah, run, me too. Let's get out of here, Like, and maybe when you're running,
good cover.
Yeah, you see somebody that needs help, you might help them up or something. But it's so dramatic. And obviously it's all just to heighten the sense of the reveal of how different his son is from what he thought later on. But it really is like such a bummer that his dad thinks so little of him,
Yeah.
Matt Kendall Claire, that would be a funny gag if they kept it going. I agree. Real Babu says, unless you're an old lady on a rooftop parking garage, then you just walk through.
This up. Oh my god!
Good callback to the Ninja Steel crossover with the Space Sheriff. Yes.
I thought that when one was watching this, I was like, oh, that's the slowest old person. Oh no, it's the second slowest old person I've ever seen.
If they had her walking through this, that would be an amazing callback. And she's just like, oh boy, here I go. And just... Like, I would love that. Anytime there's some big fight scene, once per season, just have her, oh no, go into her minivan or whatever, just not noticing anything.
One thing, too, that we forgot to mention was during the speech, he said the name of the city. Isn't it, like, Coral Bay?
He did say the name of the city. I don't remember. Coral Bay sounds right, but I don't remember off the top of my head.
I think we're getting it confused with Mariner Bay from Lightspeed.
I bet you somebody in chat will correct us.
I think it's Coral Cove. Anyways.
Okay. So he helps the old guy.
Devin's being a coward, quote unquote, and then Mayor's doing Mayor stuff, helping the old guy.
Then the Rangers show up minus Devin to help Ben and Betty, who are surrounded by Tronics. And again, everything tying together, it all works. Everybody's coming together. Again, payoff. A lot of things. All these individual parts moving together. And then Devin shows up, and very dramatically, he's like, wow, they're like right in time, and he immediately gets I didn't even notice Ben and Betty's face in the background. Like, he's like, and she's like, whoa. So that's good.
One hit all of the Tronics again, just like, bloop, bloop.
There was...
okay.
Good.
Here's the thing. So we've seen the Rangers use the blaster and the sword when they're not morphed. If Ben and Betty have the risk communicators, why wouldn't it be like, all right, you guys seem to find trouble a little bit. We trust you as security. Why don't we give you the option to win all your fights with these guns? Here, just click this. It'll pop up. Go nuts.
Here's why.
That way you take care of yourself.
Here's exactly why. Because they've proven themselves to be trustworthy, and their hearts are in the right place, and they're moral, and they want to do the right thing, and but they've also proven themselves to be klutzy and incompetent physically. So do you give someone like that a gun, like a super gun? Because they could be like, okay, we know how to do the right thing. Oops, I shot Devin. Or, I couldn't get it working. I looked at it and blew my head off. Or, like everything they do turns into chaos. Giving them a gun is not a good idea.
So we'll agree that they need special VR/in-person training with the Rangers so that when they go out in the field, they'll be much better equipped and can actually help.
They need training, but I don't know if they're capable. Like they just they're physically clumsy. Like it seems to be an innate thing. Presumably that's some kind of training to be security officers, but they're just goofy. I don't know if it's literally their muscles and their reflexes or because of the way their minds work, they're scatterbrained, but I wouldn't trust them with a gun. I mean, I wouldn't trust me with a gun, and I'm not as klutzy and goofy as they are.
So
you
here's
know?
the thing: what if later in the seasons they become Rangers?
Then it
Would
doesn't
your views
matter.
Change?
No, because just like Nate didn't know karate, he becomes a ranger. Now he's a good fighter. They will become more proficient because
You just
almost
better prove my point. Since Nate, who couldn't go outside
Yes.
without somebody with him, as we've mentioned maybe once tops in previous episodes.
Yeah.
The same thing can be done with Ben and Betty. Just get ahead of it and show them the way.
That you just what? You acted like I proved your point, but no, you're saying Nate was combat worthless. He became a ranger, now he's great. That's what you're saying, and that's true. And you
No,
complained.
that's what you're saying. I think Nate, both times, just clever writing made him seem less worthless.
You complained that Nate was not a good fighter and he was feeble and they were afraid to let him go out and whatever. Then he became a ranger and all of a sudden he's awesome. And I said, yeah, because he's a ranger, and we've seen in many seasons, even when they're unmorphed, rangers often gain increased stamina, strength, fighting abilities just by being a ranger. It's like in them. So that's fine, and I could live with that. And you're like, bleh, I don't like it, but I guess, is kind of where we landed. So You're saying, Ben and Betty, what if they become rangers later? They can't even fire guns, and they're so klutzy. And I'm saying, it doesn't matter, because if they become rangers, they'll become more coordinated and stronger and better fighters, because we've seen that before, a.k.a. Ziggy. Maybe they'll have a funny fighting style.
Become more coordinated right away.
Maybe they'll have a more goofy fighting style. Yeah, but his fighting, he got better. It wasn't like, even as goofy and uncoordinated as he was, like, it wasn't even uncoordinated. It was just like, I don't know what I'm doing. I'm kind of like, I don't want to say cowardly, but like sort of like, goofy. Anybody who gets ranger powers gets improved across the board, all their stats. So if they become rangers later, then they will be better at using their weapons. That'll happen. And so you're like, oh, just like it happened with Nate. Yeah, just like what happened with Nate. He became a ranger, became a better fighter. That'll happen with them. I don't understand what the conflict
All right,
there is.
counterpoint. Like the Silver Guardians in Time Force, I think they could be trained up to be able to assist the Rangers.
Humans can be trained up. Ben and Betty are not good choices. They are very trustworthy.
You are wrong. You're wrong.
No.
Disagree.
No. Chat, back me up here. Actually, we've missed some chat, so let's see. Coral Harbor, Matt Kendall Clare says, thank you.
There we go.
Aki Dragu says, I mean, his job is to serve the public, so he expected Devin to take the people to safety first. Well, the mayor's job is to serve the public. And I guess this is an example of like a perfect mayor, because mayors and politicians in real life, as we know, they're going to have security protecting them. They're not going to go save people. But even if he's trying to be this shining example of a public servant, his son isn't. Like, as far as he knows, his son is just a regular guy. He's not involved in politics or anything. So there's no requirement for him to do that. It's a bit much. Maybe he'd hope so, but when he doesn't, to be like, oh, this coward. It's like, that's a bit much, I think. Real Babu says they're 5-year-olds and adult bodies, just like Babu and Squat. I agree. Aki Dragu says Ben and Betty shown themselves capable enough in this episode. They are capable of doing certain things, and they're trustworthy. The main thing is they're trustworthy. They have good hearts, and they want to do the right thing, and you can depend on them that way. But physically, and again, I'm saying I don't trust myself with a laser gun. I don't trust myself with these random, like, superpowered weapons. And I am more level-headed and competent and physically able than either of them. So it's like they're the worst choices. I'm not saying a human that is unmorphed couldn't use these things, but if anything, they should outfit the other members of Grid Battle Force. They should all have guns and swords and things. Ben and Betty, that is not the role they should have.
If the girl who did laundry and had no training beforehand showed enough heart to become a ranger, then these two that are in security have enough for them to be trained up.
They have enough to become rangers, not to be trained up. She became a ranger and became a good fighter. I feel like you keep switching your argument. Anyone could become a ranger. I agree. Anyone who becomes a ranger becomes a better fighter. Fine. Your argument is anybody can be trained to fight monsters. I don't agree. Not anybody.
Anybody can be trained up to better fight monsters.
Sure, yes. And if they're starting at -10, maybe we get them to -5. But you don't give a -5 a laser gun.
But here's the thing. If they're already in the field having to deal with these monsters, they're only more of a liability when they get caught or when they lose the precious
Give them
cargo
a force
than
field.
if they trained up a little bit. No, they don't even have force fields.
No,
Get out of here with your force field.
There's a force field on the Megazord. Nate could maybe develop that technology. Give them a force field, give them a teleporter, give them invisibility, give them super speed, give them something defensive.
Give them the purge suits from Rick and Morty, and then we'll call it a day.
Give them something defensive, nothing offensive where they could accidentally hurt someone or themselves, because they've done it with pies, they've done it with bikes, they've done it with selfie sticks, they've done it with hoses. And if any of those things had been a gun, people would be dead or property would be destroyed. You don't give them anything that can do that kind of damage. You are wrong. I'm taking a Ninja Steel point whether you're giving it to me or not. Ninja Steel.
All right, we can agree they can at least get sabers.
No! Better
It's close range.
Better a saber than a gun, but we've still seen them do
Fair.
damage. No, better a saber than a gun, but I don't want that either. Give them defensive weapons only. Let me check chat. Let me see. Ben and Betty have shown this. Yeah, Matt Kineclair, maybe once tops. LOL once. Oh yeah, no, he's definitely said it more. He's being funny, or he thinks he's being funny. Matt Kineclair, Zoe technically did have prior training. That's true. The real Babu, was she spilling laundry everywhere all the time? No, she was competent
Who
at her
knows?
job.
Maybe she was.
No, we did not
Hard
see that.
to say.
Aki Dragu, Zoe was actually in the training program. She just quit part of the way due to financial issues. Oh, they're destroying your arguments. Matt Kendall Clare, Aki Dragu, I think it was because she was juggling too much stuff, not due to money issues. Either way, she was in the training program and left voluntarily, not because she clumsily failed out of it or something.
How about this? We'll agree this. If
We're
they
not
get
gonna
enrolled
agree,
in the
but-
training program, we'll see how they do. If they don't do well, then that's fine. If they do well, I'm proven right, and I get a delayed Ninja Steel point.
If they go into the training program and do well, I will give you a delayed Ninja Steel point.
All right.
I'll give you 3 because it's not going to
Watch
happen.
season 2. It's gonna open with them like, "Hey, glad we got through that security training."
And
it's
I'll give you 3
yeah.
points, but it doesn't count if they become rangers and then become competent fighters. That
No,
that
that's
proves my
fine.
point. That proves my okay.
No, because it's the Ranger MacGuffin of, we
Yes.
have powers. Now
Yes.
you can just do everything.
All right, so
Yay.
we've spent a long time on this. So I was thinking how it's not a double episode, so we could take our time, but we're at a half hour and we're like a third of the way or a quarter of the way through the episode.
Yeah.
So Ben and Betty, and I can't go over an hour today. So Ben and Betty, they're like, we know where the rest of them are. They're in the van over there. Go get it.
They're in the
Rob-
van.
yeah.
By the way, the van's driving away. Go
Yes.
get the van.
But again, good information. Robbie's like, okay, let's go to it. Then we cut back to Evil Cyber Dimension, and Scrazzle's like, look, we've got to get all 3 of them in position, and then we can take the whole tower. It'll be great. And Blaze and Roxy are like, okay, fine. Cut away from that. This fight scene is one of my favorites. I feel like this must be Sentai because the way they
has
did
to
it,
be Sentai.
yeah, it was on the staircase. We got Ravi fighting. He does this dive off the side, and then we cut back and we see people fighting on top and the bottom. There's trunks. And it's just like it's chaotic, but it's controlled chaos. Like, because obviously somebody
Yeah.
planned this, but it looks like a real fight, and it's like multi-leveled, and it just was a lot of fun. And it wasn't even like super impressive martial arts necessarily. It was just like a real fun, all over the place battle scene in the stairs. Like, I really liked it, and it's one of the best fight scenes I think I've seen in a while in this show, and I
It
really
was pretty
dug it.
good. I got to agree.
Okay. And then it culminates with them winning, and then they get to the, or I should say Devin and Zoe get to the van, and they find them. We're like, awesome. And at this moment,
Yeah.
I'm like, wow, that was like kind of a short episode, like plot point. They kind of resolved that part really quick. Then they get a call from the commander, and she's like, oh, they've released a Gigatron, which is actually what Scrozzle's like, I'm going to distract them with the Gigatron.
Oh yeah.
Which,
no,
again-
they asked him to do it, and he said, "What's the magic word?" And then Blaze
Oh,
said now,
right.
and he's like, "Oh, fine." Blah blah.
That's
blah,
true. You're right. Yeah. But
blah.
again, yeah, fine, Ninja Steel. But they set it up that like, okay, we got to transfer these to the base, but there's a Gigadrone, so we're gonna split up. And as soon as that happened, I'm like, don't have Ravi drive the van. Anybody but Ravi,
No, of
because
course he's going to drive the van. Why wouldn't he drive the van?
because he's the only one that could have a potential conflict of interest.
No,
And
he's the senior guy. Why wouldn't he be the
He's
one
not
to do
the-
it?
he's not the
There's
leader.
no reason.
Devin's the
that
leader.
He wouldn't be the one.
Devin's the leader. Nate has the scientific expertise. We understand Ravi is chosen because we want there to be this conflict.
No, I know.
But I'm allowing it for story convenience. But in universe, somebody should have been like, okay, anybody but Ravi drive the van because like it could be a problem.
Here's what should have happened.
Yeah.
Ravi drives the van. Devin follows on Cruz,
Mhm.
and then the Gold and Silver Ranger in Megazord form fight the Gigadrone.
Yeah, but I guess they felt that Devin needed his Zord to fight it. Arguably,
You know what?
I don't
I'm going to be honest. You know what it probably was?
What?
Sentai footage.
maybe. Although the whole fight between Ravi and Roxy is not Sentai footage.
I know, but if you look at the Megazord fight, everybody but Robbie
Oh,
Zord is in
yeah,
there.
yeah, that's probably true. I will say though, this shot of him morphed driving an old dusty van is ridiculous, and I love it. It's just something goofy about it. It reminds me of an episode going back to Supaidaman, the Japanese Spider-Man, where there's a villain driving a van. It's very similar, where they're like a big monster, and there's like, oh, I'm driving the van. You know, it's just like, this seems weird. You know, like it's too normal. Um,
Yeah,
but so as expected, Roxy's like, I know how to get the transporter, so she shows up knowing that he'll go after her, and
yep,
of course he does. I do like that he struggles with it. He's like, I shouldn't, but this is my only chance. And like he doesn't just he makes arguably the wrong decision, but it's
yeah,
believable. I have no problem with it. Who knows what decision we'd make in that position? It's very
true.
human. It's going back. People have said that have accused us of like we want everyone to be perfect and not to be flawed. I don't. I think he's flawed. This is normal. I don't hate him for this. I don't think it was bad. I think he had a tough choice to make, and he made a choice that might have been wrong, but we might have done the same thing. Who knows?
Yeah. I think also as a Hail Mary, if he saw that the van was getting away, he should have tried to blow up the van.
Agreed. Absolutely agreed. And chat real quick. Oh man, I'm missing a lot. We missed a lot. You
Oh,
read some
geez.
chat. I'm always the one reading it. I'm gonna take a sip of water.
I think there's. Matt Kendall Clare, law can't ever do an episode review without you two arguing. Very true. That's
Yeah.
why we're here. Real Babu, where's the fun part in that, Matt? Matt Kendall Clare, very true. Steve, it's fun seeing them argue since it's good, entertaining.
they
Also true.
they enjoy our pain.
Matt Kendall Clare, I thought that was a bad idea with Ravi being chosen to be the driver.
Thank
Yeah,
you.
we can all on that. Akidragu, what if Ravi is the only one with a driver's license?
That we know that's not true because Devin can at the very least drive a motorcycle, and I'm sure he could drive a car. Motorcycles are a lot harder to drive than
If there's one thing that we've learned, you don't need a driver's license to drive a Zord. That's a quote from one Justin Turbo Power Rangers movie.
That's
Ninja
true.
Steel.
That is a Ninja Steel point for you. But didn't he? But hasn't he driven a normal motorcycle as well? Maybe not. There's no way.
No.
There's no way no one else on the team has a driver's license. I just find that impossible to believe.
Hey, they all have bikes with more effects. What do you need a license for?
To move laundry when you're Zoe. I don't know.
Ninja Steel.
Real Babu says not as bad a choice as Star-Lord attacking Thanos. I would.
Whoa, hey.
Yeah. Wow.
Too soon, guys.
I mean, a little bit of a spoiler for a movie that came out a few years ago, but I'm one of the few people that defends Star-Lord in that moment. For those that don't know, he made a similar choice where he made like emotional, personal decision over the greater good. I don't say he did the right thing, but I understand why he did it, and I can't promise I wouldn't have done it. So when everyone's like, "What an idiot!" It's like, I can't promise I wouldn't have done the same thing. And and I'm wearing my Star-Lord hoodie actually, so I got to stick up for the guy. But so that's again, I can forgive it with Ravi as well. It might not be the right thing, but it's understandable. But I also like that she's running and he does this flying like cross chop tackle out of nowhere, which I thought was just an amazing way to start the fight. Like not like very correct. It was like a wrestling move. He's just like, "Wah!"
Yeah.
And he hits her, and then we get this very anime, like the two of them flying up against each other.
And then a morph in a little bit.
And then what?
From we get the morph from Roxy, which I'm glad we got to see it considering the circumstances.
She morphs up. They're fighting. He does this thing where he flips her, and it looks like he's got it good. Then and then we cut to the Megazord fight. We see Silver and Gold get their Zord going.
Yeah,
we see Red coming, and it's interesting because it's like basically in the middle of the episode they're having a Megazord fight, which you don't usually see. Also, I found it interesting, and this is again goes back to Sentai footage. This Gigadrone looks not standard. He's got like a big eye head.
Oh, it's very specific.
And so I imagine there was a small version of that monster in the Sentai that we didn't use because we're doing all this American, Avatar stuff. But it's just we've never seen that before, so it's just interesting. And I wonder if that monster will show up later, without the larger counterpart or not. But
I don't think so.
But clearly this is the end of some other episode that they've used as the middle of this episode. So
I take that back. Yeah. We will see that if we see a mass army of previous ones.
True. This is what I was saying. So he flips her, and we cut back to the fight, and it looks like he's winning. Midair, again, Roxy's so badass.
Just
while she's getting flipped, she turns around and fires him, which is like her signature move, flying through the air, firing guns, and kicking butt. And she gets him, but then he's like on the ropes, and he's like, nope, it's time for gorilla strength. And
And he overheats when he does it, which makes it
Immediately.
even cooler.
Yeah, and at first I'm like, why is he overheating immediately? And I'm like, oh, I guess because he's just like pushing it to the limit. He's like pedal to the metal,
Push it to the
100%.
limit.
Luckily, there's this huge boulder to throw, and he picks it up. But meanwhile, the commander's getting readings from the one other agent that gets to talk, and he's like, oh, Ravi's overheating. That's weird. She's like, he's just driving. That makes no sense. And I was like, Ravi, what are you doing? And he chucks this boulder at her. It hits her. She starts glitching, and he's able to get her morpher. And she's like, "No, my morpher!" This is again one of those moments. I'm like, "Well, he's not gonna really." And then he smashes her morpher. And it's like, "Oh, he did!" Like I did not think that would happen. Okay, we cut back to the Megazord fight, which it's just not that interesting. It's fine, but it's like, who cares?
Yeah, it's weird that like out of the whole episode, I'm like, no, just like go past the really cool like cinematic part.
And there's nothing wrong with the Zord fight, to be clear. There's nothing wrong with it.
It's
just a standard fight, but there's the stakes in the Ravi fight that we really care about. By the way, Ravi really has come, not just in terms of like liking him or not liking him, but his character. Remember I said before how he's kind of the most interesting character in a lot of ways because of this complex backstory and his conflicting everything. Again, he's not my favorite necessarily, but I do think he's the most well-developed, interesting character on the show. He's got so much going on. The relationship with his mother.
Honestly, I'd have to think about it to agree or strongly disagree on that. I'm going to be neutral for now. The thing I will say though is I like kind of that going back to what worked early in the season, where it's like we're not worrying about the art drama, we're not worrying about him not being a leader. We're literally, he's just like, I care about Roxy. I'm going to do this. I'm not even remotely kind of hesitating about disobeying this order.
Right.
Like I'm past that. We're done. We're just getting it done.
Yeah, agreed. In chat it says, sorry. Matt Canoclair, well, guns almost always win. True. And then Matt Canoclair says, I thought that was pretty cool with Ravi crushing the morpher. Yeah, it was good. And it kind of reminds me of something happened last week. I forget what it was. Oh, no, I don't remember. But it was like I was legitimately worried or like that's the thing. The last couple episodes, they've had stakes where I'm not usually you're 100% sure they're going to win. They're going to do this. This is going to happen. And they've been making it so,
it was with Steel.
Right. Okay. But it's that thing where, we're like, he might not have made it in time. And then he did, but then he was hurt. And like, at the end of the day, it's Power Rangers. The good guys are going to win. But moment to moment, battle to battle, I'm starting to doubt what's going to happen, which is great. That is awesome. To not know everything like beat for beat how it's going to go. Speaking of beat for beat how it's going to go, they call the Cheetah Beast Blaster. He uses a sword. Who cares? Stupid. And then there's the victory pose. I will say, though, for the worst part of the episode so far, using the Cheetah Blaster, that's great. Because that happens every episode. I'm never going to like it. Everything else this episode I've liked. Even the Ben and Betty stuff has been fine. Like
there's no complaints so far.
No. So he's fighting, he's overheating, but she's back to unmorphed. So it's like, who's gonna win? Because he's still powered up, but he has like a time limit, and they're fighting, and he's beating her, and then she fires a blast, misses, or he absorbs it, or it just isn't effective. He pulls out his gun, which is smart, A, because guns almost always win, and B, because his physical abilities are getting taxed. He blasts her. And she's like, "Oh, what's happening?" And then starts like crazy glitching out. And again, I'm like, what is gonna happen? And then she blows up and is destroyed. I'm like, wow, they did it. They really did it. I am impressed. That is crazy. That is wow. Okay. And
the only thing I questioned was like, why did she want to take him on so bad? The only thing I thought of when they were leading up to it was maybe she was going to try to pull the, Ravi, you can't hurt me card. Like, trying to, like, make him feel so. I literally can't think of why she would go into that.
Here's why. She knew that she was the best way, the only way, possibly, to get him to leave the teleporters. And that was important for the end game of Evox and their everything. Like, whatever.
And Blaze getting the van.
Yeah. Getting that van out of Ravi's hands was super important, and she was the best, if not only way to do it. Now, that being said, she didn't call Tronic. She didn't ask for any backup. Did she think she could beat him one-on-one? Maybe. Maybe because she is a good fighter, maybe she could. But I think there is a backup plan where she thought, hey, if I get destroyed, that's fine because of that thing I did to the chamber, and there's a part 3 to that plan. So I think she did this knowing she might be destroyed, but knowing that she has a backup for it, so it would be okay. That's what I think.
Maybe.
I expect to be proven right in the next episode or two, or next
see,
season.
man.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What I do like is that he lands and kind of coincidentally the sprinklers go off, and so it kind of cools him down, even though
Yeah, I know.
it's just kind of a fun moment. So he looks up and there's Blaze again driving a van. It just looks weird, but I love it. He's like,
Hanging out.
yeah, I got the van, and he's like, oh no. Let me check chat real quick before we go back. Ravi must have fired at her 5 times, and that was a bit brutal with the avatar being destroyed unmorphed, which was nice to see. Agree with everything you just said. Aki Dragu says she was going to teleport out, but didn't expect the morpher to get destroyed. Also fair, but again, I think that she has a backup plan for if she got destroyed, because she set herself up to be a target, and I don't think she would have done that without a backup plan. Because otherwise, like Big Dog said, there's no gain there. And I think she's smart. She's tough and smart. We've proved this. If there isn't any, if that's just the end of her, I will be super upset and disappointed, because it would make no sense.
Super upset. I think she just overestimated what Ravi would do, is what I'm going to chalk it up to.
If that was the end of her, aside from being disappointed that the character would have planned better, and they set it up as though she had planned better, I also feel like she needed a more dramatic ending. There should have been a thing where she's like, I can't believe you did this to me, or like, oh, just something back and forth. There was no final words. There was no nothing. So I don't believe this is the end of her because of who her character is and the way they set it up. But if it is the end, then they did a terrible job giving a send-off to a hero villain.
We'll see.
If I'm wrong, I'm going to be so mad. It's going to make me, if I'm wrong about this, whatever final grade I give this series, let's say I go, oh, it was a B+. If I'm wrong about that, it's going to go down to a B. It's going to go down one full.
Wow.
That's how much I'll be upset if that's just the end of her and that's the end, because that'd be so stupid. That would be so stupid. But I'm confident that it won't happen, so I'm not worried.
Okay.
Anyway, we go back to the cyber evil Knievel, and Blaze is like,
Evil Knievel.
yeah, Evil Knievel. So Blaze is talking to Evox, and Evox is all mad, and he's like, oh, one of my great lieutenants is destroyed, and Blaze is like, yeah, but I got the teleporters, and he still got me, so, who cares? And Evox is like, yeah, I don't really care. Okay, that's fine. But then we get back, and oh man, how come she didn't wake up? The real Roxy, that is. She should have woken up, and she looks worse than ever, and the commander's like, Ravi, you done messed up. They got the teleporters. The whole city's in danger. You're terrible. Also,
you done goofed, my friend.
But also sorry about your girlfriend. So she does give him like a little bit. I actually thought she was gonna like suspend him from duty or something like that.
Yeah.
And maybe that'll happen next episode. But it was surprising that she's like, because by the book, by the standards of the military or the Rangers or whatever, he disobeyed an order. He put everybody in great danger. So while I kind of understand why he did what he did, and I might agree with it, it wouldn't be crazy if he was suspended from duty for a while or relieved of his. So that didn't happen. That's fine, but I wouldn't be surprised if next episode there's consequences. So while this is going on, Ben and Betty call, again being useful because they're out scouting. Hey, we found one of the teleporters. Everybody goes out to see it. They say it's very well hidden. It's in a bush, whatever. But Nate realizes, oh, it's pointed at the tower. And if they have 3 of them pointed at the tower, they could take an entire Morphex tower, and that's really bad. And so I guess they take. Oh, okay. They take it right there. But this starts to come back to the point you made of if it gets desperate, destroy the van. The only complaint I might have is at some point I feel like maybe they should consider destroying these things. Maybe put a bomb on it, put a tracker on it, something, because it gets back in their possession a few times and gets out of it again. So a little safeguard might have been warranted.
So I'll actually defend possibly the show for this. So we saw when it was cracked that it teleported Ben and Betty like so many different places and times.
Yes.
Assuming it exploded, it would probably do something more catastrophic, which is why they can't do it.
Okay, fair, but then put a tracker on it. Okay. But that is, I'll give you
a ninja, just like make it like
Ninja Steel point for you. You get a Ninja Steel for that. Yeah, absolutely. So then we cut back to the mayor and he's like, Devin, I'm very disappointed in you. You're a cowardly son, and you're terrible, and I hate you. And Devin's like,
you're just a bum. You're just a bum of a son.
And then Devin's like, that's interesting. I need to run away again. Like immediately.
Let's hold that thought.
Yeah.
Woo!
So there's a big explosion, and the mayor goes flying, and here comes Blaze. And this was a pretty cool entrance where he's just sauntering in with all the Tronics.
That was a really cool shot.
That was very cool. And it makes me look forward even more when Blaze gets his Lightning Collection figure. So Devin in civilian form fighting Tronics 10 feet away from his father, which somehow doesn't see this. Whatever. Ben and Betty and Nate, they're like okay, you guys collect all the teleporters and get out of here. We'll fight. Again, makes perfect sense. So they put it in the shopping cart. Tronics come after them. Again, Ben and Betty in the thick of it. The mayor picks up a shovel and he's like, well, I'm going to start fighting Tronics. Cool. It's consistent with what he's been doing. He saves them.
Probably if he could fight him with a shovel, why can't 2 security guards from Grid Battle Force use sabers? I mean,
Because instead they use a banana peel, and then the Tronics slip on a banana peel. Then they use baguettes, and the Tronics get knocked down by baguettes.
What you're saying is, I'm asking them to be, I haven't watched it a lot, but one of the ancillary characters in G.I. Joe. What you're saying is, no, they have to be MacGruber.
I haven't seen MacGruber. I know he is a comedic character based on MacGyver. MacGyver never used guns. Did MacGruber use guns?
No.
Ninja Steel!
No, I'm proving your point. MacGruber.
Yes, you're proving my point. Thank you. Moving on.
No, time out.
We've got 8 minutes to finish this episode.
For those of you who want to see a really funny cult classic rated R movie, MacGruber's great. No, throughout the entire movie of MacGruber, they're like, why don't you just say, no, I can't do it. And then eventually he builds all contraptions that essentially do the same thing. They're like, why didn't you just use a gun? No, I can't. It's against my code. Kind of like Batman. Anyways, back on.
We have 8 minutes to finish the episode. Let me talk about MacGruber is what he does. Let's check chat real quick. Real Babu says, Tracker might interfere with it too, like a microwave with a pacemaker. Sure, that might, but in a bad way. Fair enough. Okay. Aki Dragu says, he comes home battered and bruised and also kind of hints to them having lots of fight at home. True. It kind of gives the reason for a grumpy Devin. That's true as well, but again, cover story. I don't know. Matt can declare Ben and Betty wanted to monkey around. Yeah. That was probably my least favorite part of the episode that wasn't the Cheetah Beast Blaster. Wasn't the worst thing in the world, but whatever. So then we cut back to the fight, and Steel's fighting, and they're all unmorphed fighting together with Steel. Nobody notices this. Then it's morphin' time, so great. Now, Zoe pulls out her blaster and fires, but it does not immediately kill all the Tronics. That was weird. I don't know what happened. Maybe she missed. It was, I guess. But Ravi is like, I'm supercharged from beating Zoe and Avatar Roxy, and he's punching and kicking and flipping, and he's shooting, and he's doing awesome. This is the most fired up and charged fighting he's ever done.
This is 100% Sentai footage.
And at the same time, Devin's like, by the way, I've really gotten good at my super speed. He's charging around, kicking everybody's butt. Another good fight. Not quite as good as the other one in terms of choreography of the scene, but in terms of everybody just going. And then we have this Nate and Steel fighting Blaze, which is probably the least interesting part, but we know this is the American footage. It's fine, but it's not as exciting as some of the other scenes. And then Blaze is like, fine, whatever. I'm going to go grab this and position it. And he's just setting up all of them in position. This is just showing him getting them all. He has all but one, which is the one that Ben and Betty have. So they're like, okay, let's get it in the truck. And right before they pull away, he grabs it. And again, I was like, how is he going to finish this since they got it? And at that exact moment, he grabs it. So I was like, okay, fair enough. So he goes to set up the third one. Devin sees this. Cheetah speeds over. Good. Again, I have no complaints with Devin. Devin did a good job this whole episode. He Cheetah speeds over. He pulls out the claws. Doesn't go Fury mode. We don't know if he can go Fury mode or not, but he's got the claws.
Either way, got the claws.
Yeah. So he's fighting.
No laws when you're using claws.
So they're fighting. It's a pretty good fight. And then Devin stops the fight and charges for the teleporter. Is he going to disarm it? Is he going to run away with it? Is he going to destroy it? Something. Good idea. But then Blaze pulls out those cable things, which we haven't seen in a while, but they've used before to restrain him. It's like, oh, good call. Pulls him back, damages him enough that he starts demorphing, and we see his father behind a tree right before this. I'm like, oh, he's going to see it.
Oh, no. Everything's ruined because his dad knows that he's a ranger now.
His dad, the mayor. And again, the other episode with Zoe did a good job of explaining why the rangers set up secret identities from the public in general. They didn't do a good job of explaining of how they're keeping that secret identity because they don't seem to do a good job of it. But again, a close relative who is in the public office and who works with Grid Battle Force, who wants his son to make something of himself, who wants his son to be a hero that doesn't run away from danger, could have known before now. He didn't, but now he finds out. Let me see real quick in chat. Aki Dragu, Mayor Daniels with the most powerful weapon in the world, the shovel. And it does. It works pretty well. And not as well as, maybe baguettes and bananas, but very well. Real Babu, the mayor is a mystery man. And Matt can declare it was funny how Blaze said Kitty got claws. That's true. I agree.
The real Babu's referring to Mystery Men, in case you didn't get that joke.
Was he in Mystery Men?
The shoveler. I shovel well.
Oh, the shoveler.
Very well.
Very good. I did not catch that. Ninja
I
Steel.
did,
Ninja
so
Steel
good
point
job.
to Babu, and half for you for getting it. Yeah. So we see Blaze, and again, this thing like, oh, he's gonna press the button, and they do that thing where he's like gonna press it, and you expect
And
someone to
then
be
he
like, no,
does.
and then he does.
Straight up presses it.
Awesome, great. He presses it, and then we see this, and it's like, whoa, what's gonna happen? How are they gonna stop this? And then I'm like, is Devin caught in that?
Nope.
Devin is
Nothing
caught in that,
stopped.
and his father
Nope.
finds out that Devin is the Red Ranger right when he's getting teleported without his powered up, and then a big smoking hole where the tower used to be. Awesome. Awesome. Everything's great. Everything is awesome. And then we cut to the Rangers like, oh no, and the mayor like, oh, my son. It's great. Stakes, consequences, payoffs.
Everything's terrible right now.
It's great. It's Empire Strikes Back of Beast Morphers. It's great. And then they go back to base, and they're like, yeah, we lost the tower. We lost Devin. We no longer have the ability to teleport things because they have all our teleporters. What are we going to do? And Nate's like, I guess we're going to take the pieces of Scrozzle's Cybergate and try to rebuild that. But we all know that the Cybergate was not that good to begin with. And it's like, so we're going to try. They're exactly reversed position, where now they're trying to make a crappy version like the villains did. And they're missing their leader. And it's just awesome. And then all the Beast bots are like, well, what are we going to do? We got to save Devin. And it's like, yeah, we do, but this is more important. And Ravi's even like, I don't want to lose another friend. But again, it's kind of the same thing he just went through of like, Devin's important, but the whole city's in danger. But then you hear beep, 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 beep. The real Roxy wakes up now. We don't know why. Again, she was dying. It wasn't working. Now she wakes up and is fine because of part 3 of Avatar Roxy's plan is my theory. She wakes up and he's like, don't talk. You got to save your strength. She's like, no, I have to talk because I know something terrible. I knew everything that the Avatar knew. And we cut to the cyber dimension as she's talking. And we see all the power from the Morphex Tower going. She's like, I know what they're going to do. They're building a body for Evox. And we see this proto-body being built. And in case you're wondering where Devin is, yeah, there he is. It's not a great shot, but he is hanging out in prison, unmorphed, seeing this happen. And then we see all the energy going. Now, if you looked at the toys, unfortunately, we've known for months what this is going to look like. But it's like a big cliffhanger, which we won't know until next episode what the body's going to look like. And then we cut back, and she's like, we got to stop him. It's going to be terrible. And we don't end on a positive note. We don't end on Ben and Betty. We end on, it's going to be terrible.
Boom.
Beast Morphers. What do you give this episode?
Oh, solid A.
I'm between A and A+. I'm between A and A+.
I'm going to say that you're A or A- due to the unresolved thing about Avatar Roxy.
No, because I have faith that it's going to be resolved properly. Again, I'm not going to downgrade this episode based on bad decisions that we'll find out later. I'm saying this is an A, maybe an A+ for me. At the end of the season, at the end of the show, if this doesn't pay off, the whole thing's going down. I'm not going to penalize one episode because there's nothing wrong with this episode. That's how it goes for me.
Do you want to hear a cool theory that
Aki Dragu also gives it a solid A+. Sorry, go ahead.
Yeah. A solid theory that I have for next episode that probably won't happen is Mayor Daniels very distraught. His son is trapped in the cyber dimension.
Yes.
They need the Red Ranger for a lot of this plan. Nate goes, oh, well, you guys share the same DNA, so I can finagle it where I can actually make you the Red Ranger. The only caveat is you can only do it for a little bit. You can only morph one time, but it'll work in a pinch so we can make the Megazord and do all this stuff and rescue Devin. And he's like, great, it's morphin' time. And then he becomes Red Ranger for the final episode of the season. And then Devin comes back, family reunion, everything's grand. And it'd be really awesome.
I like that in theory, but we've had a couple seasons now where the dad the dad has become a Ranger. In Ninja Steel, we literally had the dad become the Red Ranger.
He was already a Ranger.
Right, but he becomes it again. And we had in Dino Charge Godzilla team.
Thank you.
In Dino Charge, Tyler's dad was a Ranger. Like, I'm not against that in general, and it'll probably be fun, but it's just like not as new. But what I would like to see, going along the same theory, is Roxy wakes up. They need more firepower. She splits the yellow powers with Zoe.
No.
Why? 2 Yellow Rangers at the same time. Hopping in and doing like double kicks on people, that'd be awesome.
No, the DNA thing doesn't work. My DNA thing works.
We could have both. Roxy was in the things. Her DNA already floated in there. It could work. I want to see both, but we're out of time, so we'll argue about this next week. I think I have to double check, but I think there's one more new episode and then the Christmas special.
Next week is the finale.
Right, and then we have the Christmas special. So we're gonna have a lot to talk about next week, and then Christmas time, and start thinking about what your favorite Christmas special is, because we're gonna review the current one, but I want to go back and do some vintage. I already know what mine is, but we'll.
I think I know what mine is too.
Do you want to say, or you want to keep it a secret?
I'll keep it a secret.
Okay, I'll keep mine a secret too then. So let's check chat before we end the show. Matt Kendall Clare says, Real Roxy mentioned how Scrozzle had learned from Nate how to build a body for Evox. Right. So likely when Nate had built Steel from him. That, yes, you're right, and that makes sense, and that's a good line that explains everything. Although Scrozzle's proven himself to be competent, I would believe he could build it anyway, but the fact that he has the extra knowledge from Nate, sure. Aki Dragu, too much yellow power is bad for the morphing grid. That's pink. You're thinking of pink, sir. I say sir, but I don't know if you're male or female. Matt Kendall Clare, I agree with Gaz, and yes, finale, then Christmas. So we'll keep doing shows, obviously, in between and stuff, but that's what's going on. I would like to keep talking, but we've about an hour, and I got a hard out today. So thank you for everyone who has watched live and chatted here with us on Twitch. Thank you for watching later on YouTube, and we love the comments there as well. You could follow us on Facebook. We have the official group, and then we have we have the page for the show. Then we have the group where there's a little bit more informal chat. You can check my Etsy store, Gazbot, if you want to buy any of the art stuff. I have a sale going on right now until midnight, so it's for where I'm, I think, 4 hours. I've been doing it for Black Friday through Cyber Monday, 30% off everything on the site, and if you spend $35, free shipping. So I've had a couple people take advantage of that, and if you're thinking about it, or if you have thought about it, now is the time. I also just put up everything I've done for Ranger Stop. So all my new prints, the silver in space Ranger sticker, you could, even if you don't want to buy it, you can go check it and see what's up there. Other than that, I think we're good. Anything else you want to say, Big Dog?
I have been the Big Dawg Defender.
Oh, that's true. And I have been one thing I forgot to mention. In the top of the show, John Tui, SPD, Shadow Ranger, and Mystic Force. Yeah, nice shout out he gave me at Ranger Stop. I don't have an interview with him, but I gave him a piece of art and he gave me a nice shout out. Very nice guy. I barely got to talk to him. He was like the hit of the convention. Everybody loved him. Wow. He was a big gregarious personality. So thank you to him. Give him a follow on social media if you can. But you were saying something about what you've been?
I have been and continue to be the Big Dawg Defender.
And I shall be and always will be Gazbot.
And this is Action Activate. To the power, folks.
To the power.
See y'all later.
Should I do end credits?
Sure.
End credits. Hey, look, it's me. Look at you. We're talking over credits.
What's he doing? Checking the phone.
Boy.
What is he gonna do? I definitely can't get a blast though.
My hat was falling off. Let me poke you in your gibbles.
Oh man.
I sure do. I want some gum. Oh, that wasn't gum. I thought I saw a bird. Okay.
Oh no. Keep going.
Action, activate, action. All right, thanks everybody.
Power.